Upper Kindergarten Phonics. The journey to fluent reading and writing. In this video, you will learn how to develop fluent reading skills in your child, how to transition from phonic reading to regular non-phonic reading, how to develop guided and free writing skills in the upper kindergarten child. Four activities to do simultaneously. It is important to do these four activities at the same time every day. Each activity would take a specific number of minutes. Let's look at the first one. Reading and writing known three-letter phonic words, both individual and paired. Now these three-letter phonic words are words that the child has already learnt in the lower kindergarten stage. You need to revise this for at least 15 days, once a day. What do we mean by individual and paired? The child reads it individually and then reads it with another child or to an adult. It's called paired reading. Second, mastering 8 to 10 sight words per week, read and spell. Select 8 to 10 very important and commonly used sight words and get the child to practice it every day for one whole week. This should take you about 3 to 5 minutes. Random sight word reading from a sight word box. This is a collection of about 120 to about 150 sight words, and the child has to read just one word per day. This would take about 30 seconds. Handwriting practice with focus on cursive letters. We begin with just one letter per day, and this would take about 1 to 2 minutes. Let's first begin with three-letter words. As I said, these are words that the child has already learned at an earlier stage. Notice also that we focus only on one vowel at a time. So get your child to read this and continue reading it until fluency develops. This would take about 15 days. At the same time, get your child to write 4 or 5 meaningful words. What do we mean by meaningful words? For example, cab, dad, lad, bag. These are words that the child already knows the meaning of. So get the child to write it in a notebook. The second activity is mastering sight words. So you have a collection of sight words here. Get the child to read it fluently. Get the child to write it. Get the child to learn the spelling and get the child to identify. What do we mean by identify? It means that when you say she, the child puts his or her finger on this word. So, you need to ensure that the child has complete mastery over these sight words. Here is your sight word box. This is the box where you keep your collection of sight words. It's easy to make these sight words. The size should be that of visiting cards. Type them out on an A4 sheet of paper, laminate them, and then cut them and put them into this box. Let the child do one word per day. So if the first word is who, the child learns how to say it, spell it, and once total mastery is acquired, put it in this box. Then take up the second card. Now, how soon a child masters all these words would be different from child to child. It depends on a child's ability. Some children would be able to master about 10 to 12 words per week. Others would be able to do only 1 or 2. Go at the child's pace. Now remember, these sight words are different from these sight words. These sight words could be done at random. Any of those 120 to 150 cards could be selected. The next activity is daily handwriting practice in cursive letters, and we focus only on the lowercase. Always begin by giving stroke practice. Let the child practice every stroke that makes up that letter. So, the child should master letter position and proportion. What do we mean by letter position? It needs to understand which part of the letter goes above the main line, which we call the baseline, and which part of the letter goes below the baseline. Secondly, proportion. The child needs to know the proportion of the lowercase to the uppercase. The proportion of certain letters to other letters. An important note on cursive handwriting practice. Number 1, focus only on lowercase. Do not teach uppercase cursive letters because research has shown that adults do not use uppercase cursive letters. In fact, you notice your own handwriting. We begin the uppercase with print and then continue writing the rest of the word in either running or cursive handwriting. Third, don't give too much of importance to perfect letter formation. Remember, the child is still learning to write. If a child is very uncomfortable with cursive letters, then it is okay to let the child write using print letters. I am often asked by both teachers and parents why cursive handwriting is important. Here is the reason. As children reach higher grades, they will be required to write long pieces of text in neat, legible handwriting. Both speed and neatness are important. And print handwriting does not allow a child to write with speed. Now, once the child has mastered those 3-letter words and the sight words, use all these words to make a small paragraph and then get your child to read. First, the adult reads, then the child repeats. Max is a lad. He has a cap. Sam is a fat cat. The fat cat is in a bag. Initially, the first day, this is all a child will be able to handle. So the adult, parent or teacher reads each line and the child repeats. Then encourage the child to read that paragraph silently or by himself or herself aloud. The next thing is to get the child to try and read it to another person, either an adult or another child. So, we continue in the same way. So, the first day we do just this paragraph, the second day this paragraph and this paragraph, the third day paragraph 1, 2 and 3, all the while following the same steps. Number 1, adult reads, the child repeats. Number 2, the child is encouraged to read by himself or herself. Number 3, the child reads aloud to another person. Number 4, the child listens to another person reading while following the text. If you do this from the beginning, the child develops reading fluency within 2 to 3 months. The importance of paired reading. When a child reads to another person, the child develops reading fluency. In a classroom, or even if you are a parent, this kind of practice helps a child with poor reading skills to benefit through peer learning and teaching. As we all know, children learn better from each other. So if you're a teacher, you could pair up a child with good language skills with a child who is still struggling to read. And you'll find that both children benefit. If you're a parent and if you have another child, then get those two children to sit together and read to each other. Third, this practice develops a love of reading in children. And finally, most important, reading aloud with expression is an art, and please help your child master it. There are many vocations and many jobs that require this. For example, voice-over artists, news readers, and people like that. Now, after the child has mastered these sight words, it is important to give word identification practice. What is this? You get the child to number the word as you say it orally. For example, 1 and. 1 and. And then the child has to write number 1. Number 2, she. 2, she. 2, she. And the child numbers she. Now, go slowly because this is a little challenging for the child. Finally, dictation of the words, which will demonstrate total mastery of these sight words. Now, this should be achieved by about 1 to 1.5 months. Again, this will depend on the child's capacity. Here is a very useful activity which will teach the child word order in sentences. Give the child a card with a sentence below and then word cards the child has to read the sentence and then take these word cards and form the sentence and read it. Then we begin something called free writing practice. Now, free writing practice uses the 3-letter words and sight words that the child has already learnt. What is free writing? The ability to write sentences and paragraphs without the help of an adult. Now, your child has learnt certain 3-letter words and has mastered certain sight words, and now the next step is to encourage the child to use these words to write a sentence independently. We begin with a simple image and oral practice. So encourage your child to say the sentence orally. The bat is on the mat. Get your child to repeat this several times. Then get your child to write it in the notebook. If you look here are samples of writing. Most children would just write bat mat, some would write bat on mat, some would have difficulty with spellings. Some would say the bat is mat, the bat mat is, the bat is on mat, and very few children would be actually able to write the last sentence. The bat is on the mat. Do not correct the sentence. Just put a tick. Then, in their copy notebook, get the child to write the correct sentence only twice. The bat is on the mat. So give simple images like this, first beginning with oral practice. The rat ran to the lad. Now this continues for about 3 to 4 months. Then we move on to more detailed images. We always begin with oral practice and eliciting vocabulary from the child through questions. What do you see? The child may answer or say a boy and a girl. So give these words to the child. Where are they? In the garden. What are they doing? Sitting on a mat, having a picnic, eating. What are they eating? Apple? Bread? What else do you see? 2 trees? 1 frog. Notice how we give the child the required vocabulary. And when the child speaks, encourage the child to speak in complete sentences. What do you see? Boy and girl. Okay, give me a full sentence. There is a boy and a girl. Where are they? They are in the garden. What are they doing? They are sitting on a mat. They are having a picnic. They are eating. What are they eating? They are eating an apple and bread. What else do you see? There are 2 trees and 1 frog. So once you have elicited all this orally, and once this vocabulary is ready for the child either on a paper or on the board, encourage the child to write a small paragraph. Now, if you look on the left, initially this is what you would get. Boy, girl, sit the mat, garden, picnic, eating apple, 2 trees, 1 frog. Notice how the child has merely copied the vocabulary. That's perfectly okay. because this is what the child is capable of initially. Do not correct this, just put a tick. Then, in the copy notebook, write out the sentence correctly and get the child to just repeat it once. Write it just once below. That is enough. This is only to give the child an understanding of grammar, spelling, and word order. So continue doing this one picture per week. That is enough. And you'll notice that every week the child gets better and better at writing independently. Also, when you are selecting pictures, let it be something that appeals to a child and where the vocabulary is simple. Now, do the following for 4 to 5 months. Revision of 3-letter phonic words, introduction of sight words, reading and writing sentences made of the above 3-letter phonic words and sight words, reading paragraphs made of the above 3-letter phonic words and sight words, individual and paired reading, spelling and dictation practice, free writing practice. By 4 to 5 months, the child should have mastered all 3-letter phonic words learnt in lower kindergarten, about 50 to 70 common sight words, the ability to fluently read paragraphs made of the above words, the ability to independently write short sentences made of the above words, spelling and grammar mistakes acceptable. Now, there is something very important that you need to start after 1 month into upper kindergarten, that is non-phonic reading, where once again the child reads individually and then in pairs. Prepare small little texts like this. Make sure the text does not have more than 5 to 6 sentences. Select the difficult words, the longer words, put them in a box and then first get the child to practice reading these words. The adult, parent or teacher reads it and then the child repeats. Lizzie, birthday, baked, cake, Tommy, waiting, wants, come, mummy, puts, tongue, tail. So the adult says the words and the child repeats. You could also syllabify the bigger words. After that, read the text line by line. Let the child repeat. Then encourage the child to read independently. Then get the child to read another to another child or an adult. Then get the child to listen to somebody reading. The same steps that we followed earlier. Now, this is the method, revision of words in the box. The teacher or parent reads, the child repeats twice or thrice. The child reads by herself or himself. Then the child reads to another child or adult, paired reading. The child listens to another person reading. Follow this method always when you're teaching your child reading. Through this method, the child develops reading fluency very quickly. Now, non-phonic reading. For the first 2 months, only read one text. That means the same text is read every day, and this would take you about 5 minutes. Then third and fourth month, do one reading text every 15 days. Then the fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh months, you should be doing one reading text every week. That would be 4 reading texts per month. If you do this, by the time the child gets into grade 1, standard 1, the child would have mastered reading skills. After 5 or 6 months, introduce phonograms, consonant clusters, diagraphs, word families, double vowel clusters, and begin with vocabulary building. What are phonograms? They are sound units found in many words. For example, AME, aim. When you're teaching phonograms, spell the bit using the name of the letter. AME, aim, aim. And then add a phonic letter to it. Came, blame, dame, fame, game, lame, name, same, tame. Here is another example. IKE, Ike. Bike, dike, hike, like, mike, pike. Consonant clusters. 2 consonants that come together in a word. Here it is BL, bl, cl, fl, gl, pl, sl, ck, k, mp, mp. So the child reads these in words. Bl, blot, black, blink, blab, blank, blip, blob. Here is another example. Br, cr, dr, fr, gr, pr, tr. Brag, brat, brim, brick, brink. What are diagraphs? They are groups of letters that are pronounced very differently from the way they are spelt. PH takes on a first sound. Elephant, telephone. TH takes on a the sound. The, brother, weather. TH takes on a th sound. Think, thumb, both, north. CH takes on a ch sound. Chap, chip, which, chair. SH takes on a sh sound. Ship, shop, dish, fish. Word families. Here the vowel changes and the consonants remain the same. AR, ER, IR, OR, UR. Ba, ka, fa, her, under, fur, stir, girl. For, no, born. Fur, burn, hurt. Then here we have ALL, ELL, ILL, OLL, ULL, ULL, all, L, ill, all, al, dull. This would be ul. Bull, full, pull. Al, dull, hull, lull, mull. This is what we call word families. Then we have double vowel clusters. Here we only pronounce the first vowel with its name generally. So there is a rule that says when 2 vowels go walking, the first one does the talking and the second one is silent. Now remember, there could be exceptions to this rule. So here OA, O, goat, loaf, soap, boat, road, coat, foal, oak, toad, soak. EA, E, eat, beat, beak, each, teach, easy, east, tea, see, leap, neat. IE, I, die, died, pie, cried, fried, flies, skies, tie, dried. Now, the best way to teach phonograms, consonant clusters, diagraphs, word families, and vowel clusters is through reading strips. Here, the child keeps pulling the strip and reading the word. Children love this and learn to read very quickly. If you go to the website www.cft.in and go to the downloads section and click on others, you'll find a list of phonograms, sample reading strips, and a template to prepare other reading strips. It is not enough just teaching them individual words. Once the child has mastered a group of words, then you need to put it into a paragraph. Here you have a sample paragraph using consonant clusters. Slip, slop, slip, slop. Sim the slug slinks and slips. The slug cannot jump. The slug cannot flip and flop. Diagraphs, a big ship, a big red ship, a big fish in a red ship. Word families. There is a car under the fir tree. The fir tree is by the river. And phonograms. A snail. The snail has no tail. The snail is very frail. Put the snail in a pail. Vocabulary building should start 4 to 5 months into upper kindergarten. Here are some things you need to focus on. Action words and emotion words, names of fruits, flowers and vegetables, domestic and wild animals, names of body parts, common buildings, common occupations or helpers. You could prepare flashcards like this, 12 to 15 on particular themes, and just practice it once with a child. So, one week you could have domestic animals, the next week it could be wild animals, the third week it could be fruits, and then display these flashcards where the child can see it every day. Remember, children have photographic memories and they learn the spellings like photographs, like images. Notice how we syllabify the words. If you do this, children learn the spelling very quickly. No grammar, please. We do not teach grammar in preschool. Grammar concepts are abstract and the preschooler cannot understand abstract concepts. Focus on grammar can start from grade 1 or standard 1. Storybook reading. It is important to provide the child with a rich collection of preschool storybooks. You could begin with picture storybooks and then move on to stories with simple sentences made of phonic words and sight words. Then, once the child gets into upper kindergarten, you could let the child engage with non-phonic storybooks. I often get complaints from teachers and parents that children don't read. Now, unless we develop a love of reading, children will never learn to read, and this begins at a very young age. What are the benefits of book reading? 1. Children develop a love of books and reading, and then you will find that they are not addicted to smartphones and TV. They develop very strong reading skills, and good reading skills is the foundation of academic success. If a child reads well, it is able to understand all the other books that it has to read and understand in other subjects. It allows the child to become an independent learner because the child no longer depends on an adult to read and explain things, and it builds confidence in the child. So please make sure, if you are a teacher or a parent, that you provide lots of books to your child. Read to the child, read with the child, and let the child read to you and to other children. Please go to the website cfte.in. Click on the download section and go to others. You will find a lot of very useful preschool guides and templates that you can use both as a teacher and as a parent. Below this video, you will find links to websites that have interesting preschool activities. Thank you.